It was a relatively warm February day, February 14th to be exact, and I was almost 7 years old. I was in Mrs. Danning's first grade class. After being out to recess, I came inside to find a large chocolate teddy bear sitting on my desk. It was from my secret admirer, Dakota Cox. This was the best day of my life to find out that someone had a crush on me. I decided, like any first grader would do, to never speak to Dakota Cox again. Through my countless experiences with Valentine's Day, my love for the holiday, and through my research, I feel qualified to speak to you today about Valentine's Day. Celebrating the holiday is something we have all done for many years. I've researched the history of Valentine's Day to find out why cute little boys give cute little girls chocolate bears on February 14th. With Valentine's Day quickly approaching, knowing the history and reasons for celebrating the holiday will make this day even more special for you this year. For this reason, I will be telling you about how other countries celebrate Valentine's Day, the history of the man who is the namesake for Valentine's Day, and how it evolved into what it is today. First, we need to know who is Saint Valentine. There are a few possible saints who could be the namesake for Valentine's Day, but I will just tell you about one. So, the most popular telling of who he is states that he was a priest in Rome during the 3rd century who was martyred. So the story goes that the emperor of Rome outlawed marriage for young men because single men were better soldiers than married men. Valentine broke the law because he was performing marriages in secret. When the emperor discovered this, Valentine was sentenced to prison, beatings, and death. While in prison, Valentine fell in love with a young jailer's daughter who would visit him while he was incarcerated. Before he died, he wrote a letter to the girl and signed it "From your Valentine," which is where that popular phrase we now use to sign our cards on Valentine's Day came from. So now that you know who Saint Valentine is, you might be wondering how different countries celebrate Valentine's Day. So first, let's talk about Italy. Valentine's Day in Italy used to be a spring celebration. To celebrate spring, couples would spend time outdoors strolling through beautiful gardens, and they would maybe give each other small gifts such as chocolate-covered hazelnuts with a sweet cherry liquid center that was wrapped in romantic poetry. It is also part of Italian tradition to put locks on bridges and throw away the key to show their love for someone. A friend of mine served his mission in Italy, and he told me that Italian people are hopeless romantics and that they really enjoy cheesy ways to tell each other that they love each other. So now let's look at how Denmark celebrates the holiday. Denmark started celebrating Valentine's Day in the 1990s. They celebrate the day by giving friends and lovers a white flower called a snowdrop. They also have a tradition of giving someone something that they call a joke letter, or that's how it's translated into English. So this letter is not signed by the writer, but instead signed with as many dots as the writer's name has letters. So if the woman guesses who the joke letter was from, she will supposedly get an Easter egg that year. And in Denmark, Valentine's Day and Easter are very close together. If she doesn't guess correctly who the letter is from, then she has to give the letter writer an Easter egg. So finally, let's talk about how China celebrates Valentine's Day. So it is celebrated in the 7th month and 7th day of the Chinese lunar calendar. Historically, the day was celebrated by using skills to carve flowers and animals into melons. They would worship this weaver fairy, honor oxen, and make fried pastries. Today, it is celebrated more modern by giving flowers, chocolate, and other presents to sweethearts. So finally, to conclude my speech, I want to tell you about how Valentine's Day has evolved for America. Valentine's Day used to be a romantic holiday, but now the day is meant to celebrate all types of love. For example, you can celebrate with your mother, your siblings, friends, significant others, and even an entire elementary school class. Valentine's Day used to be a handmade holiday with love letters and flowers, but today Americans have commercialized the holiday. So did you know that Americans spend $18.2 billion a year celebrating Valentine's Day? That's an average of about $136 per person. The most lucrative items being purchased are jewelry, flowers, candy, and cards. So in conclusion, Valentine's Day has been celebrated as far back as the Middle Ages. It is celebrated in many countries, China, Denmark, and Italy, just to name a few. Although the traditions of celebration have changed throughout the years, it still remains a popular holiday and is very lucrative for companies. I hope that you've learned something new about Valentine's Day, and in return you will enjoy the holiday even more this year.